Romantic longing is something so deeply human, so deeply emotional, and so inextricably poetic that we're left to sort of wonder, chicken or the egg, was romantic longing the reason for poetry's birth? Or did humans not know that they felt romantic longing until they read it in poetry? I think that there is some mystery there, but if you want to talk about mystery, today's poem has one of the strangest twists that I remember seeing in Emily Dickinson. I think most of the twists you see in Emily Dickinson, most of the conceits you see in Emily Dickinson, they're strange, they're out there, they are powerful, they are certainly creative, but normally you can kind of reason your way into them. You can kind of understand on a basic level, why was this decision made? Why was this the conceit? Where was the turn here? You can look at those things and understand them. In this poem, I'm really not sure. I think that it takes some digging around to even start to wonder. The poem in question today is "The Moon is Distant from the Sea," and it will appear in two separate playlists here on the channel. Number one being the Poetry Discussion playlist, number two being the Emily Dickinson playlist. The Poetry Discussion playlist now over 750 videos strong. The Emily Dickinson playlist, I believe, approaching 250 videos strong. So the poem reads as such: "The moon is distant from the sea, and yet, with amber hands, she leads him docile as a boy along appointed sands. He never misses a degree. Obedient to her eye, he comes just so far toward the town, just so far, goes away. O Signor, thine, the amber hand, and mine, the distant sea. Obedient to the least command, thine eye impose on me." So what we have here is fairly simple in the first part. The moon is distant from the sea. The moon and the sea are very far away, and yet with amber hands she leads him. It is from the moon that the tidal waves go in and out, etc., docile as a boy along appointed sands. So were it not for the moon's amber hands, the sea would be complacent, would be lazy, but she tells him where to go. He never misses a degree. He goes only so far as the moon leads him, obedient to her eye. He comes just so far toward the town, just so far goes away. So we get this idea of the obedient sea to the lover moon. Well, we assume, I think we're putting in there the lover moon. This is pretty regularly considered one of the more romantic Emily Dickinson poems. Uh, why else would the sea follow the moon but for that the hope that the moon would notice and fall in love with him as well? But then we have something strange happening in this final stanza. O Signor, or Signor, however you want to say it. O Signor, thine the amber hand, and mine the distant sea. Well, the moon, the amber hand, in those earlier stanzas was female. Here, it is Signor, that is the moon. Obedient to the least command, thine eye impose on me. And it becomes our speaker. You're, I guess, assuming a female here. The gender reverses in this final stanza. Well, why would that be? It could be a commentary on the fact that it's not the gender that is important to the speaker, it's the idea of control and devotion. Which one is controlling the action? Which one is utterly devoted? Here, our speaker is claiming to be the devotee. Our speaker is claiming to be the one who will do whatever it is that Signor wants. There is also often the question of Emily Dickinson's sexuality. And there is a lot of speculation that maybe Emily Dickinson was gay, was a lesbian. Um, I don't know. I don't care, really. But if that is the case, and this poem is to another woman, then we have a whole lot of play with gender in general, right? You are calling a female to whom you're writing this Signor. That is the masculine. And then at the end, reversing the roles anyway. I don't know that we have really any reason to come to that conclusion. I don't know that we really have any reason even to do the speculation. But outside of the realm of speculation, it is something interesting to talk about without assuming one way or another. It's sort of um, an interesting idea to ask. What is the role of gender here? It could be, again, that Emily Dickinson is not writing from her very own point of view, often writing from the view of someone who is, for example, deceased. We're not left to assume in an Emily Dickinson poem that the writer is in fact the speaker. So who's to say that the speaker here is not himself masculine, writing to a senior nonetheless? The idea of romantic devotion. Is this healthy? The sea does whatever it is the moon says, goes wherever it is the moon tells him. By degree, does the moon comply? Does the sea comply? Is that a healthy relationship? I think that it might seem healthy from someone who does not have a lot of relationships. I think that the time in which Emily Dickinson was writing, I think that there was probably a little bit more adherence to these strict sort of leader and follower relationships. I think that this would be a reversal of the norm of the day. In the middle 1800s, probably you were looking at a relationship, quote unquote, led by the man. Here it is led by the woman. This poem suggests that that's just fine. This poem is putting out that energy that, hey, there's got to be a leader and there's got to be a follower in every relationship. Is that true? We're living in a world where that answer would be despised. There should be no quote unquote leader to a relationship. Still, people have lived that way for millennia. We might not like the answer today. Still, I guarantee you, if you run down the Rolodex of everyone in your immediate circle that is in a relationship, you would say that there is a leader to that relationship. If you really thought about it, it might not be so obvious, but if you really drilled down, I bet you would say that there was someone in charge in each and every relationship pairing that you know. And if you don't know, probably you're not the one in charge, right? You look at your own relationship and you say, there's no leader here. Probably that just means it isn't you. Do you think the sea in this question ever asks the question? The sea in this poem ever asks the question, am I in charge? Honey, can I be in charge tonight? Right? Probably not. It's an interesting case of romanticism, the romantic, romance, the idea that one should lead and one should follow. We don't really have an endorsement here from our speaker. We don't really have the sort of incantation that this is the way it should be, only that this is the way it is. He never misses a degree, obedient to her eye. Would you like to describe yourself in your relationship as quote unquote obedient? I wonder if some of that idea of control and submission is the reason why those genders are flipped by the end of the poem. That is all I have for this poetry discussion. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.